I'm back. I did this video once and I didn't quite like it, so I'm going to redo it. It's on Spiderman 3. So I went and saw it today. It's May 4th, Friday, at 3:10. The theater was filled with kids. Like, we're talking to the brim. Like, kids were everywhere. They were running around during the movie, and they were actually pretty good. I thought I would get pissed off and stand up and yell, "I've been waiting 3 years for this, you selfish little fucks," but it never happened, so we're good. They were pretty good, but they were running around quite a bit. They had to go to the bathroom every like half hour or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to spoil this movie. I just saw it, and I'm fresh from watching it, and I want to redo the rant because I missed a lot of things. If you don't want me to spoil this movie for you, you click the little X in the upper right-hand corner. What you don't do is watch this and then write me back saying you ruined this movie for me. Unless somebody pins you down and forces you to watch this my YouTube, then you have no one to blame but yourself. So fight hard. Maybe fight harder next time. Anyway, I like the movie. A lot of good things in it. They covered a lot of ground. A lot of ground was touched on. And each character in this movie basically gets spited, and then the damages. So actually there's more intricate plot points on that side than I'm going to give it credit for. But overall, it's really more of an action movie. It's more of just an action movie, and just it's quite funny too. It's got a lot of funny parts, just like all the other Spider-Man. So what's cool about the Spider-Man movie is, whenever they make one, they tend to do their own thing. Like Sam Raimi says, this is my vision for Spider-Man, we're doing it my way, fuck, I don't care what anybody else says. Even the fans who love, the Spidey franchise, like my buddy Mike Athey, you cannot change anything. Mike Athey would probably be the only one that could honestly recreate the Spider-Man mythology perfect to the letter, because he's so obsessed with it. He loves it so much that he would never give an ounce. He would keep Spidey with his original. He had web shooters that he had to refill, and that was part of the drama too, was that sometimes he's right in the middle of a big fight and bam, he runs out of shots. So they streamlined it a little more, made it look, and it makes sense for Spidey to be able to shoot, you know what I mean? He's got the strength of a spider, the abilities of a spider, why can't he shoot webs like a spider? So that's cool. But anyway, so I did like some of these action sequences in this movie are pretty kick-ass. It's almost too much. Things are flying around, the camera's going upside down. Didn't get motion sickness, but I think I was pretty close at a couple points. So, what happens is everything is perfect at the start of the movie, and then they go from there, and everything just goes downhill. So right off the bat, the symbiote actually crashes quite early in the movie. I was kind of surprised because Peter and he just got into a big fight with Harry. Harry comes out of nowhere because Harry still wants to kick his ass, and Harry comes out like fucking. He must have borrowed some of Ryu Hayabusa's gear because he's got the fucking ninja sword. He looks really really quite good actually. I think he looks cool. Realistically, anybody wanting to fight Spider-Man is going to have to be pretty much tough. Like, this is the only thing I didn't get about him fighting Doc Ock. He punches Doc Ock in the head. Spider-Man can, in the comic books, he lifted the Daily Bugle one time. He's supposed to have the strength of an insect, proportion-wise. He's supposed to be almost like Superman. He's supposed to be ridiculously strong. So if he clocks you once, your head comes right off, and then he's like, oh shit, I'm sorry. But anyway, they had to, kind of change things for the movie, which they always do. So anyway, he fights Harry, and he kicks Harry's ass. He didn't mean to, but the coolest part, he fights Harry. It's this back and forth battle, bam, bam, bam. He gets ahead of Harry, and he just gets him with the old trick, makes like a straight across rope, and fucking Harry runs into it, almost tears Harry's head off. So he feels bad because Harry gets hurt, but then Harry turns out has memory loss, and then they put that part of the story on the back burner, which is kind of cool because Harry comes back and he gets to have a happy moment again. He's not obsessed. It's the old Harry. He's back. He's happy and. Better form, because he finally gets a moment where, it's like how I feel when I'm drinking, how I finally get a moment where my brain's not going, yeah! Anyway, and then you go on to the Sandman's character, and basically they said, okay, we'll pin Ben's murder on Sandman, which is, I don't really care. It's not a big deal. I like the Sandman. I thought he was cool. I watched him when I was a kid, so I always thought it was neat how he'd turn his hand into a sledgehammer and boom, he'd fucking mess things up. That was a big influence on me. If you get into my comic book, which I'm creating, there's a lot of fucked up things that happen where, anyway, people form things. It's cool. Anyway, so Sandman's got a good purpose because he wants to save his daughter. He's not actually a bad person. He's just, his daughter's sick and he needs money, so what can he do? Rob, steal. He ends up getting chased by the cops because he escaped from Rikers, ends up falling into a silo, and it's weird because the dogs are chasing him. He jumps this barbed wire fence, falls into the middle of the silo. Of course, it's a top secret place, but you figure if it's a top secret place, they would have some kind of motion detection to let you know it's a human size. It's not, because they're like, okay, they're starting to do the demolecularizing thing, and they don't explain what it is or what they're doing, but I don't really care. It doesn't matter. They turn it on. He's stuck in it. He can't move. It swirls around him, and zap, he turns into the Sandman. And the most beautiful part in the whole movie, I think personally, is when the Sandman comes out, when he finally, because his sand is, it looks different than the normal sand, and it's flowing over the sand, and it's beautiful. Like, it's all spinning, like it's almost like a river of sand. It looks amazing. When he forms out, he's so graceful, and like it was beautiful. I was awestruck. I couldn't believe it. How and you could see the anguish on his face, even though it was just CGI. It was probably, some of the best CGI acting I've ever seen. And then he goes to reach for his daughter's amulet, and he goes to grab it, and he can't form fingers, so he's all upset. He's like, oh! And he concentrates and forms fingers and grabs it and turns into the Sandman. It was really cool. So what bothered me about this movie was, there's a lot of ground covered, of course. One thing I did like, I'll stay with what I liked, when Peter becomes the symbiote, it takes him over and he starts, I love how I knew that part of the movie would be really good, how they ratchet it up and he gets more and more angry and he starts, kind of, people that would normally have stepped all over him, he's kind of, pushing back and saying no, and then finally he just snaps and he pisses on everything. Basically, he comes back as an emo kid. They had to do something in basically every scene that you see Peter in where he's got to do something bad. He's got a little eyeliner on just to give you that hint that, something bad. He's bad. He's got his little sideways haircut, his little, I'm an emo kid thing going on. But he did it good. He did it really good. Spidey's bad. And he's picking up like all these chicks all, want a piece of him. I'm trying to do a rant. Oh, you interrupted.
I forgot to get your ginger stuff. I gotta go back.
Oh, you don't have to. I'll go. I'm good. I'm just doing a YouTube rant for.
Gotta do right ice too, though. So I gotta do around.
Okay, thanks, man. Anyway, that was my roommate Tony. I don't want to restart this just because of that. So I've already pretty much covered a lot of things. Anyway, when Spidey goes into the club and he shows up MJ, it's fucking cool. He did it just to spite her, and then Gwen Stefani's like, "You did that just for her?" Like, "Oh, thanks," because she was flattered because she thought it was for her, but it really wasn't. So that part of the movie I thought was really cool. And then the part I didn't like was they killed off Venom way too easy. Venom gets formed, really cool. I like how everything happens. It goes just like in the comic books. The sonic disturbance in the church bells freaks Venom out. He gets the suit off and he's tearing at that fucking thing. It looks really cool. It dribbles off of him and goes onto Brock, and I don't think he realized it. But Brock turns into Venom, and then bam, you don't see it. Just like in the preview, you see that glimpse of Venom, bam, you don't see nothing. And then Venom comes back. But what they should have done is, Venom is supposed to be an alien, and what they do in the comic books is they make him seem really alien. His jaw is like huge, and he's snarling, and he's only got mouth and two eyes, and he's just all this saliva, and he's huge. He's a big motherfucker. In this movie, he's basically just a mirror image of Spider-Man, which is a better story-wise. It looks better. It looks more. But I would have liked a big Venom, like a big fucking scary, And when he talked, it was just the guy from the 70s show. And by the way, he did a fantastic job in this movie. I thought his acting was spot on. I didn't think, it's not like Kelso where Kelso acts and I'm like, it's Kelso. He did so good as far as becoming a new character, a new persona, that he was even, maybe it's just because we haven't seen that side of his character before where he gets to be an asshole, and he does. He gets to be a really big asshole in this movie, which is cool. So anyway, they kill off Venom way too fast. I did not like how, bam, he's gone. Like, they blow him up. You see his skeleton silhouette in the explosion, like, because meat flies off. They didn't get a threat sense for Venom. You knew Venom didn't fuck around, but he didn't have enough screen time and didn't get a chance to do anything really, really cool. You know what I mean? He's just... That's why everyone loves Venom. Venom's a staple villain. He's permanent Spider-Man foil, and they should have kept him. I feel bad that they didn't. I didn't like how, when they fight at the end, Sandman gets Venom, they team up. When Spider-Man falls to the ground, that's when Sandman comes out, but he turns into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. I know one part in the movie gets a piece of his head ripped off, and then you see the sand come out of the ground and reform. So basically, he needs more sand. And they don't really touch on this, but as much sand as he can absorb is how big he can get. So he turns into the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's just a little too weird. I didn't like that part. I wish they would have come up with something. They could have come up with something easily where Venom and Sandman are tag teaming Spider-Man so bad, and then Harry comes in and saves them. And when Harry does come in and save them, they hold hands, like they're like doing we're tag teaming, yes, we're buddies. It's good that they got together and finally got the chance to get each other's backs like they used to, but they should have done it a little less, prison movie kind of way. They should have done it in just a straightforward, okay, I need your help, thanks man, they save each other. But, small gripes for... It was a pretty good movie. I'm probably going to take me time to decide if it was my favorite one or not. It could be my favorite one because, like I said, they did cover a lot of ground, but overall I thought it was really good.